Okay, this is sort of a part two. Drop dead serious. Serious conversation about my spiritual timeline and my sexual pleasure arousal timeline. When I was about 6 years old, after I had no idea that both of my parents were immensely friendly pleasure givers, at about 6 years old, I was invited to learn how to share and give pleasure and stimulation. 6 years old. And that remained a hidden part of my life for an extremely long period of time. It was not founded on monogamous marriage intimacy. It was a sneaky draw towards just wanting to give pleasure to someone because it feels so nice and so comforting. So I'm stuck in that friendly sharing of pleasure until I was 36 years old, and in the intimacy with a special girlfriend, she and I were both learning physical self-control exercises, where when you're in the middle of stimulation, you decide to quiet down. It's a term that people who are adept and have good sexual language, they call it edging, like coming up to the edge of the pleasure, the full pleasure, the orgasm, coming to the edge and then backing off, quieting down, so that you're actually having a longer pleasure time and you get to spend more pleasure time with your friend. And it is very, very special and strong, but it takes a practicing. And when this elder grandpa kind of guy taught me how to say no to myself through using the Kegel muscle, your stop peeing muscle, and some other muscular exercises, I learned literally how to have control over that friendly pleasure part of myself. And it was a big deal. And I literally felt like I was 15 to 17 years old again. It was an amazing thing. And so I believe that it was God that made that move and gave me that sexual self-control training, because the teacher, the elder guy, said this can be taught to children at a very young age. And it can be told to them, it will help you resist pleasure, reserve yourself for your own person, and it's a way of giving health. If you learn how to say no to your lower self, you're saying yes to your crown, and you're opening your spirit more to God and higher spiritual things. Well, that's exactly what happened to me. When I learned these exercises with this certain special girlfriend, a few months later, God literally crashed in on me in a most peculiar and amazing way, and my life has been a changed life for the past 30 years. But it started with a powerful grip on the feel-good, the sexual pleasure area of my human physiological life, in a teaching and in a practice that I have traced going all the way back through China and the Taoists, all the way back to Solomon. It was like a part of the practice. And it's even why, you've got these people that have different wives and many concubines, because they actually have the ability to retain and self-control, and it's even a birth control power. So bottom line, heavy duty cut to the chase, I'm sorry that most of your pastors and teachers and spiritual hotshots are not addressing issues like this. But if I ain't addressing this type of issue, then your people potentially are getting caught in OnlyFans, where girls are making lots of money just by showing pictures and videos, and your men are going to be caught by friendly faces and voices on their devices, and it's not an easy thing to resist. So if you don't have family, cheerful, funny, honesty times, I mean, it's low-level stuff. This sexual desire stuff, that's low-level demons that are always going to be trying to get you through advertising and movies and, people that you bump into and et cetera, et cetera. And that stuff is like no big deal compared to what the Holy Spirit is asking us to do for the poor and for the suffering and for the people that don't know God. I mean, just the work of collecting first names for somebody, a first name of somebody that you're worried about. As you watch people's faces, that is one of the ways that brings people's to a smile and to a heightened awareness. Wow, this person really cares. And you're not telling them about your religion. You're saying, we have this box on the wall at home. It's the good energy box, the positive life change box. And we collect first names. Who are you worried about? Can you think of one first name who would you like to send some good energy to? Who's having a tough time right now? Who are you worried about? You don't have to tell any stories. Can you think of one person that you're kind of concerned for, who's crazy or sick or going through marriage problems, or a little child that doesn't get enough attention? People see that you care about them, and you're not just promoting your little corner of the Christian agenda. Because a lot of people are sitting around saying, we have the right doctrine on baptism. We have the right doctrine on baptism. Don't talk to those people over there because they don't have the right doctrine. We have the right doctrine on baptism. Or we have the true gospel, or we are true disciples, true disciples, true disciples. And they list a bunch of things that true disciples are, and they leave out a bunch of other things that they're not doing. So they're not really true disciples. I mean, I'm telling you, the Christianity world is a zoo. It's a nightmare. And that's why I always say, the Havurah, the friend group, is the only thing that can defeat the Apkallu, which is the complicated, powerful spirits that are smarter than humans, that are all around us trying to get in through society, through government, through media, through every single angle. And the only way to defeat them is to have a circle of people that are constantly checking in and keeping their consciences clean. If you think that you can preserve your children from troubles by putting up a million different walls or escaping, into an off-grid environment, you're partly true. That's a good thing. But actually, the true Havurah, the true friend group, the closed communion group, private communion group, full of ecstasy, full of men and women and children, and everybody coming in and cleansing their consciences and talking about what the Holy Spirit has told them since our last meeting, and literally being obsessed with getting together and cleaning their we get together just to keep our consciences clean. We get together just to keep our hearts clean because we're all a little bit crazy and insane. And when we feel all of our consciences are clean in the room, then we take our communion. But it's the men that do the conscience cleaning, and at home they check in on the women and children. And that's the game. Now, if anybody wants to play that game, cool. Plenty of people don't want to play that game, but I do. And I want to be able to talk about the flow and the feel good because I personally want to behave. And I like having a woman of my own to enjoy. That's a really nice thing. Oh my gosh. And if you think that, sexual desire decreases as you get older, actually, in some ways it increases because it's such a comfort and a relief. In some ways it makes you feel like a little baby child again, like really being nurtured and loved and held and not alone. It's a very, very nice feeling. So peace be with you. Cut to the chase. rock steady, serious stuff. Come on now.